The Sunday school lesson for June 30th, 2024 is Ruth marries Boaz. Ruth chapter 4, verses 1 through 10. Welcome, viewers and subscribers, to my channel, The Backstory and More. I am Audrey. If you are new here, please notice the agenda. I will share the backstory, read the lesson text, and offer a brief lesson summary. The backstory takes us to Ruth chapter 3, Ruth and Boaz at the threshing floor. One day, Ruth's mother-in-law Naomi said to her, "My daughter, I must find a home for you, where you will be well provided for. Now, Boaz, with whose women you have worked, is a relative of ours. Tonight, he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Wash, put on perfume, and get dressed in your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor. But don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do." "I will do whatever you say," Ruth answered. So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law told her to do. When Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he went over to lie down at the far end of the grain pile. Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. In the middle of the night, something startled the man. He turned, and there was a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am your servant Ruth," she said. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family." "The Lord bless you, my daughter," he replied. "This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. Although it is true that I am a guardian redeemer of our family, there is another who is more closely related than I am. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good. Let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until morning." So she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before anyone could be recognized. And he said, "No one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor." He also said, "Bring me the shawl you are wearing and hold it out." When she did so, he poured into it 6 measures of barley and placed the bundle on her. Then he went back to town. When Ruth came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, "How did it go, my daughter?" Then she told her everything Boaz had done for her and added, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" Then Naomi said, "Wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled today." The backstory ends here, and today's lesson begins at this point. Verse 1. Then went Boaz up to the gate, and sat him down there. And, behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, "Ho, such a one! Turn aside, sit down here." And he turned aside and sat down. Verses 2 through 3. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city, and said, Sit ye down here. And they sat down. And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech's. Verse 4. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, Buy it before the inhabitants, and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know. For there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it. Verse 5. Then said Boaz, What day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Verse 6. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar mine own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Verse 7. Now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing, for to confirm all things. A man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Verses 8 through 9. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, Buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, Ye are witnesses this day, that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Kilion's, and Mahlon's, of the hand of Naomi. Verse 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses this day. A brief summary. As Naomi predicted, chapter 3, verse 18, Boaz wasted no time in arranging to meet with the other guardian redeemer he had mentioned to Ruth. As was customary in the ancient Near East, Boaz went to the town gate, the place where important transactions were traditionally conducted. Boaz gathered 10 respected elders of the town to serve as witnesses for his negotiation with the other kinsman. Boaz began his negotiation by discussing a piece of land that had belonged to Elimelech. The sale of this property could involve two possible scenarios: that Naomi owned the land but had to sell it due to her poverty, or that Elimelech had sold the property years ago and Naomi needed a kinsman to purchase or redeem it, exercising a right of redemption. Boaz explained his own desire to carry out the role of guardian redeemer, but acknowledged that the other man was more closely related to the family of Elimelech. The kinsman expressed his willingness to redeem the land, but then Boaz supplied one crucial detail. The kinsman must also carry out the responsibility of marrying Ruth. In light of this new obligation, the relative declined taking on the role of guardian redeemer. He was concerned that he would endanger his own estate. In other words, If he were to have a son through Ruth, and if that son turned out to be his sole surviving heir, then his own property would eventually go to the family of Elimelech. Because Boaz was next in line, his way was now clear to marry Ruth. To seal the transaction between himself and Boaz, the guardian redeemer removed his sandal. This symbolic act is mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 25, verses 7 through 10, signifying a man's refusal to marry his brother's wife if his brother died without having any children. The removal of one's sandal was also appropriate for any land or property transfer. Both the words and the action of the kinsman confirm the transfer of responsibility to Boaz. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Join me soon for the next backstory and more. Stay safe and may God bless.